Hi, my honeys. Welcome to this week's episode, in which I want to discuss a rather sensitive subject, that being attaching and identifying with the label of a disease, and how that very unfortunately is a prevention and a block to true healing. If you are new to my channel, welcome. I am just Melissa, and this is Empower Empire. If you are returning to my channel, thank you so much, my honeys. It makes me so glad that you find benefit in my sharing. I want to tread very, very softly and gently, and yet powerfully, into today's topic, because it matters so much. I see it all over social media, my honeys, and it breaks my heart. People literally identifying as the disease they've been diagnosed with. Literally creating their entire social media platform around the fact that this is who they are, this condition that they've been labeled with. And it is not victim blaming or shaming to say that that cannot work, my honeys. Whether it's a chronic illness, the symptoms of which you are wishing to dissipate, lessen, and eradicate, or even worse, an acute diagnosis that is potentially life-threatening, that you are fighting and trying to have the victory over. My honeys, if we want to heal, we are wanting to access the miraculous, which by definition is supernatural. Healing is a natural process that our minds, our hearts, and our bodies can and do achieve. But if we have been given a diagnosis that falls into the category of chronic, or we've been given a diagnosis that falls into the category of acute, what that means in essence is that the body has a very hard time fighting and overcoming it by itself. It's going to need all of our highest emotional energy, and it's going to need us to be affirming and creating from the truth that is higher than the natural, the truth that is more powerful than the current facts. So if we are attached to the label, to the diagnosis, identified with the disease, then we are not doing that. Miracles of healing, greater than the body itself alone, require us to be supernatural. We have to be superheroes who don't fight, but simply overcome. Why enter into a war? Why identify with that label? It's so unnecessary, so ineffective, and so powerless. There is truly no shame or blame in this, because most people are not doing this consciously. They're not doing it by choice. They're not deliberately choosing to make or to keep themselves ill. They simply don't know any better. They simply don't understand that what they're doing is not going to work. So I'm not unsympathetic at all. But sympathy is yet another thing, the energy of which, as well intentioned as it is, keeps the current reality in place. To truly rise above it, we have to connect to the highest truth. And the highest truth when it comes to any diagnosis and any disease is that it is but a shadow. It is a manifestation of something that's missing. What's missing is some form of self-love. What's missing is an understanding that there is no source of disease. In the grand scheme of life, there is only wellness. There is only vitality. There is only well-being. And all we can do is shut ourselves off from the flow of that. And that will manifest as a lack. That will manifest as a problem. It'll manifest as a disease. But that is not real, any more than my shadow falling on the ground is real. I need to turn and face the light to see the truth. The truth is in the well of being. There is only well-being. In the light of love, I can only see you well. And that is how you need to see yourself. You need to disempower completely the disease and the diagnosis. Recognize it for the shadow manifestation that it is. Bring the light in so that the shadow can dissipate. When we switch on the light, we don't have to fight the darkness. It's just gone. It's the same with disease. Here in 3D reality, it might take a while for the symptoms to disappear, to be eradicated. But as long as we disidentify from the facts, from the diagnosis, from the disease, from the manifestation, then the shadows must dissipate because we are bringing the light of truth to the situation. We cannot sit and say, I have X disease. I have been diagnosed as a blah, blah, blah sufferer and heal from it. It's a choice. To put it in the past in our language is helpful. To say that I was diagnosed with, but am currently healing from, is more positive. It's helpful. But even that is not all the way there. It's not the finish line where we cross over into that supernatural miracle of healing. That, the trophy, the prize, is recognizing that all is well. Life is only wellness. And my body will, can, and does reflect that. As I let the shadows go, as I allow the symptoms to dissipate, as I identify with the powerful truth of my essence and my energy, the whole of my life will mirror that state of being. And I will come into full wellness, full vitality, the wellness of life. Love. Where nothing is missing, there is no void that can be filled with a shadow. When I am full of the light of myself, that is so empowering, my honeys. So to have compassion for someone who is ill, to go gently, kindly, but simultaneously with the power of the truth, because there is no power in a form of godliness that denies its power. If I want to be well, then I have to already be well, completely, totally, and utterly well. I cannot say that I have stage whatever it is, this kind of cancer, and heal from it. I can be super positive, and I may even go into what's known as remission because of treatment, because of a positive mindset. Cancer patients are among the most positive people on the planet. Have you noticed? Well, of course they are, because what other choice do they have? But the question is, how powerful is that positivity really? Because if it is not connected to the highest truth, then yes, it's good, but it's not miraculous. We are all, at heart, supernatural. We are all more than just this physical manifestation, my honeys. We are all superheroes who fight not with the weapons of war, but with the sword of the Spirit, which is light and truth. I can and I do share all of this with you as someone who has been through cancer 6 times. The first time was a hopeless, terminal, stage 4 diagnosis with weeks to live. If I had a procedure to make sure that my kidneys didn't stop working within days, no doctor would treat me. I went to see 12 before I found one who was willing to try because of my determination. 3 different forms of cancer at once at the age of 29. I would not be sitting here today if I identified and attached to that diagnosis, my honey. I would have died. I had to be well completely and know that I was. It took a full 18 months before that had completely physically manifested. And my doctor, bless his heart, almost passed out when I walked into his office a year and a half later to have the stents removed from my kidneys. He could not believe that not only had I not died, but I was well. This is what's possible. I was guaranteed a fatal, untreatable leukemia diagnosis 5 years later as a result of the treatment I had to save my life the first time. That never manifested, my honeys, because I didn't make it my truth. I spent every day of those 5 years absolutely not accepting that diagnosis or the fact that it could even potentially be a reality. And so it never came. 3 years ago, completely unexpectedly, 2 more cancer diagnoses arrived. Stage 3B, pretty serious. Here I am, completely well again. And that revisit was just a deeper level of healing. I had so much that I had to confront and deal from with that initial diagnosis. There was a little core of missing love that I hadn't quite gotten to. There was a little core of stress and anxiety that I hadn't yet confronted. Healing is a spiral and an ongoing journey. And I will never for a minute sit here and say that it couldn't arrive again, that it might not even get me in the end. Perhaps it will. Perhaps that's my contract. But I have the choice every day to connect to the source of my life, the source of all wellness, be in truth and think and feel and live from it in complete trust. And that is what I do. Has my body completely recovered? No. Would I ever tell you what I am currently diagnosed with? No chance. Because if you make it your truth and you project that sympathy onto me, then that is yet another form of energy that I will have to work against and repel. So I will sit here and tell you that my truth is I am completely well. And day by day, my body and my life reflects that more and more and more. I will be turning 53 this year. I should have died at 29. So don't just take my word for it. Please don't think that I am unkind or uncaring when I try to give you the undiluted and powerful truth. Disidentify from that diagnosis. Disidentify from the label. And wrap yourself, your whole being, your entire identity around the highest truth that you can access. Have no doubt for even a minute about what that power and that truth is. And it must become your reality. There is no other choice, my honey. Know this. In the light of love, as always, I see you well.